It's about 10 minutes this side of 11 o'clock. Welcome to an absolutely gorgeous day along the Southern California coastline, as I often say. I hope wherever it is you're listening to us from across the globe, it's equally gorgeous for you as well. As we do each and every Monday, right around this time, we welcome Dr. Anita Wang in for a conversation about all things medicine, science. I can really ask her about anything. Even now, geography, since she's visited so many lands in the last several months. Dr. Anita Wang, welcome. How are you?
Welcome, yes. Punctual at 11:10.
You are just, you operate by a doctor's clock. A doctor's clock it is. So I noticed when I went in for hip surgery, my hip surgeon was as OCD about time as I was.
Yeah.
When you do surgery, is that a different subject than when you're like just making your rounds, for instance?
No, so, I mean, I don't know. I work in the ER when I'm doing things, so things are just a little bit hazard. But I actually do run my office pretty on time.
Yeah, I know you do. You're very organized. You're all of the great things that we expect in a physician.
So, when people are off a few minutes, so I, can run behind, but
Right.
so maybe, 15 minutes like that, but, I try to stay on time.
I've adjusted my life to Dr. Wang time, is what it is. So Mondays, it's 10:57, and I go, well, I got about 10 minutes. And I'm good with that. Again, I clear all day because we have important conversations. You have important stuff to always inform us about. So I'm good with whatever it is you're doing here. So how's your week since last we spoke?
Every day, everything's good. I always like to say, I don't know, I never, how people have to wake up and not tell them they're going to have a good day.
Right.
I know it's going to be a great day. I mean, they're just going to throw things at you, right? It's just, but every day that you're alive, and especially, when the sun is out, I am stoked. And then there's music.
Yes.
I love the music, just dancing a little, because I can't get that high from drinking or anything like that. So I get my high from the music and dancing and moving and the sun. So.
You're an inspiration, and thank you for that. I have a personal question to ask. So this morning I jumped on the scale, and I hadn't shed the weight that I thought I would shed since being kind of immobile from after surgery. So I decided I'm cutting out starches entirely.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to do just like a protein, which will be salmon for the most part, and vegetables, green veggies for the night. That'll be it for a month. What am I going to be feeling from cutting out starches? Will I a lack of energy? What will happen to me physically?
I don't know what's going to specifically happen to you because everybody is so unique.
Right.
But, so it depends on how you're metabolically flexible, which is what we try to do. So metabolically flexible is where you can utilize carbohydrates for fuel and you can use fat for fuel. So it's bouncing between those two. So people tend to not. So people who are just using carbohydrates, they get that bonk, right? So if you're an athlete and you're running and then they know when they hit that bonk, they don't got any reserve. And, so that's what we call that. But when your liver can start using the glycogen stores and use up some of the fatty stores and just kick it in right away and you just get that second win from that, it's that mobilization. So you're athletic. I don't think you're going to feel it because ketosis and fat mobilization is a great energy source. So I suspect you're not going to feel anything because I would suspect that you actually can utilize it, but you probably had a set point. There are certain things that your body was trying to do to keep that set point, and you have certain habits, and you're going to just change the habits, a lifestyle change, break it up. Because the body, you gotta trick the body. If you're just doing the same thing, you're on autopilot. How the car can just drive home without you thinking about it. You go like, how to get here, right?
The story of my life, really.
Right. So you got to change up the routine so you're alert on the road and not going the same route. It's kind of like that. So you're probably just doing things that the body was just like, we can overcompensate. Oh, so he's exercising a little bit more. Oh, so what? Still not enough.
Right, so that's exactly it. So I thought, well, okay, for sure, by getting the stationary bike and by doing these extra 5,000 steps a day here at work, that okay, well, I'll drop these extra couple of pounds, and it didn't. So I thought, well, it's the potatoes that I love so much, and it's the bread that I love so much. So for a month, cutting both out.
Yeah, well, so you have a good carbohydrate source and you burn it off, right? I would have to say that probably, no offense, but everybody's getting older, your probably muscle mass is low. Is lower than what it had been in years past, so you could do that. So your basic metabolic rate is a little lower than you think. So you spin it off and you burn it off because you're burning the carbs. You're burning off that immediate carb glucose, but you're not going to the fat reserve.
Okay, thank you. I'll report back next week and see how angry I am that I couldn't get French fries or whatever.
Yeah, that's a different story. Now you might be, because of that, be a little different, but in terms of the body, no, I don't know.
So we're going to talk a little bit, and we're going to cover a lot of subjects here. So thank you very much for hanging with me. But I want to talk about neuropathic pain and inflammation. What you had sent over was especially for conditions like spinal stenosis. What is spinal stenosis?
So spinal stenosis is the narrowing of the spinal column. And to me, that is such a painful, horrible thing to have to go through. And it's caused initially, well, it can be caused by trauma, So if you have an injury, a herniated disc, obviously these are going to go into the canal, and all of these, the canal has all the nerve endings, right? And it's the root of your nerves. So if you have something like that, you're going to get the numbness and the tingling. A lot of people have experienced back pain with sciatica, going down their leg down to the big toe. That's a nerve pain. So these nerve pains are from the fiber roots that's coming from the spinal cord. Well, if you have chronic inflammation, diabetes, high sugar, just inflammation, that's going to cause what we call degenerative disease. So that makes your bones irregular. They get these osteophytes, they get these spurs. Sometimes they have to go in and shave them off. And that's going to narrow that canal because it's surrounded by bone. And that's causing inflammation. Now, some people don't have pain with the degenerative changes. Some people do. Some people have extra amount, just depending on your pain sensation. But it's that inflammation. And so we want just prevent inflammation, but it's focusing on neuropathies because that's such a frustrating area. And once the nerve is demyelinized, so exposed, it's like having, your electrical cords, and then that coating on the outside has worn away, and now you see the raw wires out there.
Underwriter's laboratory would never go for that. Right?
And so they're just exposed nerves, and so they're painful. They're not protected. So you're going to have pain, numbness. You can't feel your sense appropriation. So you don't know where your feet are. Like diabetics, and their feet are numb, and they just don't know where they put it because they can't feel it. Things like this. So we want to avoid that. So good nutrition is important. Anti-inflammatory, having all thiamine, magnesium, B6, B12, folic acid, B3. A lot of other nutrients that are going to be helpful. So there are supplements. So if you already have neuropathy, changing your lifestyle, going on the low carb diet, decreasing the inflammation, adding the nutrients that's going to help regrow the nerves and support them, things like that.
That was going to be my question. So you can regrow the nerves, or
with a little stimulation with some technology. So with this HIFEM frequency, with magnetic therapy, with radio frequency, we can actually restore and repair and regenerate the nerves. That is what's so fascinating. So I have it in my office, and neuropathy. So you had a spinal stenosis person get the therapy and was numb feet, numb legs, couldn't feel anything, could have feeling in his toes again. Okay, so but can't fix the structural injury, but we're gonna help increase the circulation, increase the nerve regeneration of the peripheral nerves that are coming out of that root, and the peripheral nerves that are already affected. So it's like having that electrical cord that has that stripped away coating around it. We're slowly putting that coating back over it, and then the nerves can conduct. Electricity can go through, and you can have your sensation and decrease the pain. Having numbness and chronic pain is very debilitating.
Oh,
and
God.
You can't sleep.
Right. You're talking to a winner in that battle, actually. So yeah, is there a point where the nerves can be so damaged there can't be repair?
I mean, well, if they're severed,
Okay.
completely
All
severed,
right.
but I think if there's a strand, there should be a little bit of hope. I mean, the other thing is that all of this technology also stimulates your mitochondrion, which I've said is one of the things that I think is part of longevity. So I call it the fountain of youth in your body, by stimulating your mitochondrion, keeping that metabolic health, making sure you have all the right nutrients, antioxidants, and the minerals for it to do its job, which is repair. It repairs the body. The body wants to be healthy, and it's just constantly repairing.
And the reason for, and basic biology, the reason for our nerves is to signal other portions of our body.
Yes, yes.
And that inflammation interrupts that signal.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, in so many different ways.
And again, you mentioned aging, and as we get older, these things are bound to happen to some, but they don't have to.
No, aging to me is a disease itself. Right? So if we do all the right things, we're going to keep our mental clarity, we're going to keep our strength, our posture, all of these things, the vitality, so that when you're at your genetic continuum towards the end, I mean, we don't live forever, though we are trying to. There's some things that saying we could live to 200. But I mean, if you're at 60 and you're saying, I don't want to get that old because I don't want to be in a nursing home, I don't want to be wearing diapers, I don't want to be stooped over, I don't want to be wiping my butt. Right, well, I don't want that either. So that's why aging is a disease, because you don't have to end up that way. That is the message. That is not normal.
I know and see 90-year-olds that are living really active and normal for any life.
Yeah. I mean, and just think, if those people, they are doing that genetically, and they're all the little things that little tweaks are doing, but they haven't checked their mitochondria, the exponential improvement that could be done with that. So yeah, you can leave it to genetics, you can leave it to doing all of that, but why wouldn't you want to have the inside information? So you have your car, you change your oil, you clean the filters, you use good gasoline, but you never go to the mechanic, right? You never have it checked and run the diagnostics and plug it in now and see what is it actually saying that's going on in there. But your car outlasting the other lemon car or another car, yeah, it's doing great, but you could just plug it in, kind of get some data, go the extra nth, and that's all I'm saying.
It's just that easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which reminds me, my check engine light came on this morning. All right, I got to roll down to Costa Mesa, get my car checked out. So some of the standard things that doctors will do is prescribe anti-inflammatories or steroids, pain medication even, but they have limitations, right?
No, those are symptomatic. That's reactive, right? So I was trained that way, and it's very effective, and it's depending on your philosophy, right? So conventional medicine, I still practice it, it's valid, it's cutting edge, it's wonderful. But that is for a philosophy of life, is that I am going to run my body, ignore the signals, and I'm just going to do whatever the heck I want, enjoy anything that I want, and I'm just going to run it down, and then they come in and say, fix me up, doc. That's with the pill, so if I say your diet is causing inflammation and they're like in pain, yeah, I'm going to give them steroids, but there are consequences, there are side effects to that. But does that person want to change a lifestyle? No. So what I'm doing is not for those type of people. So if that's your philosophy, I can help you with that and tell you to continue and write you meds and carry on. But that, I just need to know where you're coming from. What is your philosophy? What's your because it's your way. You're the driver in the seat. I'm just giving you the information, right? So some people say, I want to keep smoking. I'm like, okay, keep smoking, not a problem.
Right.
You just keep doing that, and then I'm going to monitor for cancers, little things, check those things out, right? Now, if you come in and say, oh, I have this, pain everywhere, and I don't like it, and I want to do something, I want to be proactive, I'll go, okay, let's check it. And I'm like, oh, look at this. Your TNF alpha is an inflammatory marker, is high, means that you are susceptible to inflammation. You get a whiff of that cigarette smoke, and you are going to be inflamed, right? you get that IL-6 is also positive, you are also prone to inflammation. So yeah, you need to eat clean, you need to detox, you need to do all these things. So that person is already motivated because that body is going, God, I don't feel good when I do those things. The other guy, his inflammatory markers, those are normal, so he doesn't feel it. He's not going to feel it till, boom, he's got a problem, right? So it just depends on your philosophy, which way, how you want to do it. And I am more of the proactive, let's check under the hood, let's look at your mitochondria, let's see what your VO2 max, let's look at your muscle mass, let's figure it out, let's see what you need to do. And then you know exactly what specific things to do to make your end of the golden years wonderful.
So is what you're talking about HIFEM plus RF therapy?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's one of the tools.
Okay.
That's definitely the tool for the neuropathy, which is so wonderful because it increases circulation, prevents blood clots, regenerates nerves, helps with collagen developing the ligaments and helping with a range of motion. So yes, it's one of the therapies.
Where does someone feel the blood clots first? If you're prone to a clotting condition.
Well, I mean, if you have the genetic disposition, so some people have clotting factors disorders, right? So you have to know those things, and so you don't want to take certain medications. But if you typically people will get them in their lower legs, right? And then they travel into the lungs, and then they end up getting, the blood clot in their lung, pulmonary embolism. A lot of people, they don't even realize that they were having these clots in their legs. And then now with therapy that we do is we actually do surgery, put a filter in there to prevent all those clots to migrate up. And then you get clots in the brain. I mean, you can get them anywhere.
When someone feels or when someone has a pulmonary embolism, what does that feel like?
They're short of breath. They can't breathe.
Okay.
They're just like suffocating.
So shortness of breath is the first
breath.
danger sign, first warning sign. And you practice the therapy, the HIFEM and RF.
Yeah.
And that's half the battle right there. Really.
Right, it's my longevity tool. It's one of my longevity tools.
And one of those things that it does is strengthens the core, right?
Oh yeah, so it builds up muscles, it helps you, so that you can sit up, you can walk, if you trip, you don't fall. Also there's also another one where you with the pelvis to help stabilize your gait. So it's all about that. The core and being able to be mobile, flexibility, and just being able to get around, get down on the ground, get back up, all of that.
It's all about reducing local inflammation and fatty. And without having to go into all the trouble of surgery and pills and all that.
Oh yeah. I mean,
you really are on the cutting edge. You're really ahead of the game. And I wish that people would listen that, this is preventative stuff.
Preventative. I take all the tools that we have,
Right.
and people are using it in different ways, but I'm using it in longevity. So if you want a hot body, I can give you that. But I'm going to make sure that hot body is functioning well. Now, if you don't want to go that way, we'll just give you six-pack abs and you're on your way. But I know that I've done you a service because it's extending and helping your metabolic health.
I want six-pack
So.
abs. I'll say it right now. I want six-pack abs.
So, some people are motivated by that. They want the six-pack abs, but then, kitchens, abs are made in the kitchen.
Right.
So if you're just doing that, so you can't rely on the machines. They're not miracle. They accelerate the process, but you still have to do the diet and the exercise. You can't just rely on the machines. You can't rely on the pills. They're adjuncts. They're helpful tools. And then I use the tools that everybody's talking about that's focused on our vanity aspect, which people want to live. I want to make it so that, because in the ER, I see people that come in and they go, oh, these golden years are horrible. Oh, if only I had known. If somebody had just told me. If I knew that before, I wouldn't be here, I would have changed. But those are the messages I got.
Right.
And so many people were saying, oh, why didn't you tell me this before? Well, I am now, because I don't like what I saw in the ER. I didn't like the cry for help that I saw in the ER. So why in the ER do I have to hear that and it's too late in therapy? But actually, it's never too late, because you can start any decade, 80, 90, 60, 70, whatever, and we can change it, because epigenetics is new, not that new anymore, 30 years, and you can influence your DNA and improve things, and so it's never too late.
So you've got not only a fan in me, but you've got a believer in me. And I'll share this with you, that pre-hip surgery, I was in just way too much pain to work out. Everything was atrophied. I just wasn't working out. It was tough to do anything. Post surgery, I literally feel 20 to 25 years younger. I feel like I felt 20. So I'm doing all of the workout that I did then. You know, when I wasn't in anything, I'm trying to do those things. And I looked at myself the other day and I went, yeah, I think I can get a six-pack. I think I can reach the six-pack goal. So, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I interrupted you.
No.
I was just saying this because I know you took an extra day off and rest, and you know how I talk about rest.
Yes.
And you know about the sympathetic drive and the parasympathetic drive, and you are a sympathetic go, 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 go guy. You are just running. But yeah, I don't think you go into the parasympathetic enough, and you did. And I have to say, you are glowing today. You know, I can see it in your face. So there is a difference.
And it was such a small thing to do. I just simply took Saturday off as well, and I had 2 in a row, and I literally, I feel it. I feel the energy that, you know, normally on Mondays,
I can see it in your face.
Thank
actually.
you. So, the process of what you offer, it's not invasive, and it's pain-free, and it beats the hell out of surgery.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sometimes you need to have surgery, like you had surgery, right? But surgery's not for everyone, and sometimes there's things that you can do before surgery, and there are things that, and there's complications of surgery. So I'm not a proponent of surgery because I'm in the ER. So if you ask me, what do I see? Do I see good outcomes? No. Everyone who walks into my door has some kind of problem. So if you had surgery and you have a problem, I'm seeing you. So to me, every surgery has a complication and has a problem. So don't ask me, oh, how well does this work? I'm like, oh, I don't know. I saw this complication and that complication. So I am not the right person. So I'm skewed. I'm biased. So I have a significant bias on that. So I'm glad to see someone with good outcome because I don't get to see those people.
Yeah, I'm likewise. Thank you. You get to see me once a week, and maybe that'll refresh you for when you have to be in the ER. But HIFEM
RF.
plus RF therapy preserves muscle mass and strength. It lowers inflammatory markers.
Yep.
And for patients that you've seen that have taken part in this, it's a fairly quick turnaround. Is it as quick a turnaround as I'm thinking?
No, no.
No?
You know, because
it sounds fantastic, though.
Well, okay, let's put it this way. I'm going to say no because everybody wants that immediate, quick results.
Right.
And nothing I do is immediate, quick.
Okay.
Right? So, and what I do in emergency room, that's going to be immediate and that's going to be quick. That's life-saving measures. Here, this is where I chose a way because, in the ER, I'm very invasive. In my office, I decided there are many things that I could do that give you a quicker turnaround and do things. It's all going to be invasive, but there's complications of those invasive things. And so I wanted to be natural, sustainable, and that you could reproduce and I could educate you and you can do it on your own with those tools and sustain it without having to be invasive and invade the body because there's complications to that, right? So that being said, when you lose weight and you change your diet, is it overnight?
No, I'm giving myself a month just to try it.
Well, it takes 90 days. All right. So they say mindset change, all that stuff, all these things. So it is 90 days really for the body to make that. You make the change. It's not like overnight unless you're just so large. Things just fall off of you. People have a large. It depends your percentage, right? So so that's why when you get leaner and you're down at the last 10 pounds, it's harder, right? Because the percentage it's just harder to lose that. But the body just takes time to make those adjustments. And so when I'm doing this stimulation, and if you don't change your diet, do your rest, get your exercise, and you just rely on the machine, it's going to take even longer. But the machine will accelerate the process if you're doing the diet, if you're doing the 4 pillars of health, the food, the move, the mood, the sleep, and it's going to accelerate that process. So instead of 90 days, 12 weeks, maybe it'll be 6 weeks for you, maybe it'll be 4 weeks for you. It just depends, right? But I have to say, because our body, we get new blood cells every 120 days. You can't speed that up. That's a process. there is a process of how these things happen. There's a chain, there's a Krebs cycle, there's an enzyme reaction, there's a pathway. It goes through a
It has
series.
to follow the scientific formula,
Yeah,
period.
the little schematic process that they go through. And we want to rev it up, but you can't. So we rev it up with drugs, with stimulants, and things that just chemically alter us. I don't know if that's so good, but yeah, we can speed it up with drugs, but that's a chemical alteration in your enzymatic pathways.
I want to take a left turn here real fast for just a moment, if I could. And I know that we all know about Friday's violent episode at the Centers for Disease Control. And though authorities haven't announced a motive for the shooting, law enforcement sources say that the suspect might have targeted the CDC over health concerns that they blamed on the COVID-19 vaccine, which worked. The vaccine worked. Yet, the administration and the head of the Health and Human Services, Kennedy, have been bagging on vaccines and putting out the false narrative that vaccines are actually harmful. I've put my finger directly, pointed it directly at this administration and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. As being responsible for that shooting at the CDC on Friday. What were your thoughts when this happened?
I completely agree with you. I mean, quoting George Orwell, I believe, he says that, what is it he says that something about if you can hide the truth, or they say something negative about the truth, but the truth still exists. So if you cover up the truth, I don't know exactly how the quote goes, but so they're pointing fingers at vaccine and saying they're bad. But the truth is, vaccines save lives. It eradicated disease. So no matter how much that they try to disqualify and say vaccines are bad, the truth is going to be there. Smallpox is eradicated, polio, we stopped the pandemic with COVID. So that's factual, that's true, unless you're trying to cover it up and hide it. I mean, that's really just sad and not, irresponsible. And now you have people who aren't using a critical mind, and
they're unqualified. Let's
Right.
just say it the way it is. He's unqualified to be in that position.
Yeah, 100%. And then you have people who are listening to them because they take that as the truth, and they don't actually go. The masses, the public is not doing their reading and research because they're just relying on this authority figure to be telling them the truth, but they are not actually saying what is true.
So the shooting occurred the same week as Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's forever, his entire life, has criticized vaccinations and COVID vaccinations most recently. And he's got a history, let's call it the way it is. He's got a history of spreading misinformation and outright lies about it. He announced the cancellation of $500 million in investments in mRNA projects. The importance of mRNA research, please.
Well, it's part of cancer research, so that's eliminated. It's part of a pandemic and influenza, infectious disease, and other things. So I don't quite understand it because it's not the enemy. It has helped us, and it has saved us, and it actually benefits us. We're not prepared for infectious disease and the next pandemic now, because that's why we were able to get out of the pandemic so quickly, is because we were doing the study since 2002. It's not that it was brand new. It's been studied and in the process since 2002. And then when you throw billions of dollars at it 5 years later, when it was already through all of these steps, and the last step was the third phase, clinical trials, and you ramp it up, yeah, it's going to seem fast, right? And when we were successful, it was a good thing. It was not a bad thing. It was great. And now I'm concerned about the next pandemic because we aren't prepared. Infectious disease, we have Legionella, now we have an outbreak, we have E. coli outbreaks. We're having infectious disease outbreaks because I don't know what he's doing about these things.
H5N1?
All of
Right.
these things. So there are outbreaks all over. They're not being controlled there because he doesn't believe in the germ theory. So to me, that's a person, what he's trying to say, in part, which I understand because I espouse to that, but only to a degree. So if you eat good, clean food, but most of our food has pesticides in it, glyphosates.
Right.
Our soil is unhealthy. It's not nutrient dense. So he's saying eat healthy food and clean food. Well, we don't have a good source of that. And then we're giving socioeconomic people more processed foods, so
Right.
they're not as healthy. They're the ones who were affected the most by COVID.
They have the higher diabetes rates,
Right.
all of the things.
All of these
Right.
things. So he's saying have clean food, get it to people, eat well, and your body can fight the infections off. Well, if you cough and sneeze on me and I'm doing all the right thing and I get a viral load that is too much for my body to handle, I'm still gonna be symptomatic. And if I have an illness, I'm gonna maybe succumb to some of those things. So it's not that the vaccines are causing these things, we're preventing. So, and his philosophy that germs don't matter doesn't make sense. You still have to wash your hands, you still have to have clean water. You know, we monitor our sewer water to see how much is being dumped in there, to see what diseases are in there. And when we have polio in the water right now, so it's around. So I don't understand how you can just like.
I would remind him that 200 years ago, less than 200 years ago, we were eating an all organic diet, and we were living to 40 and 45, and then science comes along with vaccinations and with medications that can help us, and our lifespan increased at that point.
Right.
So
So he's basically saying penicillin is bad.
Right.
Let's take it away from everybody because
Right.
it saves some lives, but we can't use that anymore.
Right.
Like what?
I like riling you up. I really do. I like firing you up. So, Dr. Wang, with the neuropathy that we were talking about and the treatment for it, how do our listeners find you?
So you can call me at 949-734-0580 or text me or message me on Instagram, or you can make a complimentary discovery call at consult at anitawangmd.com, and we can just discuss on how to, have longevity, how to help you live as long and vital as you can be,
Right.
young and fit forever.
And I'll keep reporting back to you how I'm doing on this starch-free diet that I'm going on. As always, really important and valuable conversation, Dr. Anita Wang. Thank you so very much for being here. Always a pleasure. 11:43 the time.
Hello.
It's the Mornings with Ed show, and it's the all-new Voice of Laguna.